So, today I'm going to be reviewing the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza along with my father.
Hello.
So, let's see how this goes. Fun fact, my father and I have never really seen eye to eye when it comes to cars. So, good luck to me. Do you want to drive, Daddy?
Sure, I can do better than you. Let me wear my glasses so I can see better.
Now, let me begin with the introduction of this car. This is the highest selling compact SUV in the Indian market, and until 2019, this was offered in only one engine option, which was the 1.3 litre diesel DDIS 200. And now they have come up with BS6 variant petrol engines. One of the strongest points of this car has always been how Maruti Suzuki has managed to keep the price competitive in comparison to the petrol engine SUV counterparts. So, um, what were your initial impressions of this car when this was launched? Because I remember we were looking to buy this car.
And we actually bought it.
Yeah, and then we sold it.
We sold it because it was a lower version.
Yeah,
And
so
we sold it. It was like a one-eyed animal.
yeah,
One airbag because there was a huge waiting list and we didn't want to wait for so long. Initially, I thought it's a Swift on stilts.
yeah.
But then when actually I sat inside and went out for a drive, my impressions changed, and I thought it's more than a Swift. And I've been reading about this car before its launch on the net, in the magazines, and I believe it is made on an international Grand Vitara platform.
It's a hard tech platform.
Yeah, but then it's hard tech. Yes, that's what the Maruti Suzuki engineers claim. But then it was designed on a Grand Vitara platform,
Yeah.
which was shortened to the specifications of below 4,000 mm. What the Indian government offers SOPs with an engine capacity of less than 1,500. I drove it. I found it to be a different animal altogether.
And clearly, at the time when this was launched, it was there was a rage around this car, and
Yeah, because we Indians basically we have started liking that SUV, maybe due to our road conditions and our terrain. So we have started loving an SUV like no one else.
yeah,
And we need anything which looks boxy, which rides high, which sits high,
yeah.
and above and overall that factor of Maruti, easy to maintain, cheap to maintain, economical to run,
Yeah.
good resale value. We Indians we calculate the resale value first before buying the car.
So let's
However accomplished
let's not
financially you are,
let's not come
including
to
you.
no, but let's not come to conclusion straight away.
Yes.
How are you feeling driving this car right now, or
So
in terms of the driving dynamics?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's an average driving car. I mean, on the bad roads, it's quite wobbly and jumpy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's quite stable at high speeds.
Yeah.
And it's got 16-inch wheels, so it rides really well. And the suspension is on the softer side,
Yeah.
so it doesn't bounce like in say in Ford EcoSport. But the ride is not as pliant as in comparison with
S-Cross,
something like
yeah.
S-Cross or TUV 300,
Yeah.
which is far superior.
Now this is a 2017 variant,
Yes.
and So it's a used car. It's almost 50,000 run.
60,000.
60,000 run. So it's been heavily driven now. So before we dive into actual specs, in terms of, let's say, just the feeling of the car, in terms of the braking, in terms of the gearbox, in terms of the steering feel, can you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, it's atypical of Maruti, because I think after a certain time, it does get wobbly. The plastic parts inside start making their own music, competing with the music system.
Yeah.
So this car is well put together. Though the plastic quality is, forget impressed. I'm not happy with it. But then it's well put together. It doesn't make any noise or anything. Doesn't shake anywhere. So it's basically a solid stuff from Maruti stable, and it actually rides very well. The braking is good. The clutch is light.
But clearly there is a lot of engine noise, as you can. It's penetrating into the cabin.
Yeah, because as you know, all these Fiat-sourced engines do make a lot of noise, But
But the NVH levels also of this car
yes, are poor.
are poor.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so let's talk about the specs. Let me get to the sheet. So what you have is, it's a 1.3 liter. It makes around 88.5 bhp, which is this good enough at this day and age in 2021 with 4-cylinder 1250cc engine, 5-speed manual? What do you think of this?
I think for Indian roads and Indian conditions, it's apt, it's proper, and the kind of drivability this engine has, though it has a lag, but it doesn't have a lag like an Ertiga, which carries the same engine.
There is a bit of initial turbo lag.
Turbo lag, yes.
When you in the first gear.
Yes. But then it's better than Ertiga, and it is quite drivable, and it's fun to drive. After say 2000 RPM, it's fun to drive. And max speed you can go up to around 150 comfortably, and quite stable at high speeds. It's a good engine.
Yeah, and also I feel now Maruti has claimed that it gives around 24-25 kmpl.
Yes.
The mileage. So yeah, I think, what do you think in the cities it will give you, and on the roads?
In the cities, I think it should not exceed more than 15 kilometers per. On the highway, it's hovering around 20 for sure. Because these Fiat source engines are known for their mileage, So with the rising fuel prices, this is quite a boon. And now, since Maruti has come up with only petrol engines, I think the resale value of these old engines have bounced back.
Right.
They are quite on fire.
Okay. So now in terms of features, it's pretty standard, I would say. You get 2 airbags as standard. You get ABS now because of the regulations. Otherwise, this is VDI variant, so it's quite basic. You don't have climate control. You do have a music system, which is pretty basic.
Nothing special about any features.
Yeah.
All the standard norms which have come into fore are prevalent in this car. That's all.
Now you're sitting at the back seat. Tell me, how are you feeling? Give me some insights, Daddy.
So I think the pluses are adequate leg space.
Is it adequate though? Because
It's adequate. Adequate for a 4000 mm, below 4000 mm car. It's quite adequate.
Okay.
Number one. Number two is quite a wide seat, So 3 abreast can sit comfortably. The windows are large, so you don't feel claustrophobic, like in other cars in this price point on this segment.
The interiors are all black though, so
Yeah, it's quite dull, but I'm saying pluses.
okay.
And the fourth plus is you sit quite high,
Yeah.
So ergonomically you're correct. And you can see the road ahead. So 4 points. And minuses are a little under thigh support has to be increased. The squab is slightly shorter, so that can be increased. The angle of this backrest has to be more inclined. Number 3. Number 4 is this headrest comes too forward, So they have it has to be an adjustable headrest, so you can just go at the back, and it's quite a pain there. And if you have people of obviously my generation, I think there should be more of with the upcoming neck pains and so many other issues related to your spine. But overall, it's not bad. It's acceptable. It's acceptable, surely.
Okay, and in terms of the suspension setup and how it, moves on the surface, what do you think? Can you feel the bumps?
Overall package in this for the rear suspension setup is good.
But it's not just, for me, it's not just the, what you're getting at the price point. If you compare it to the cars in this bracket, or even if the cars that are slightly expensive,
like Vitara or something,
I think this is where it can clearly improve, because
I think it's quite acceptable. I think it's quite acceptable, and compared to higher segment cars, this SUV segment like Hyundai Creta or something, it's quite acceptable.
which is, should people buy this in 2021? Now what we're looking at is the pre-facelifted version. Should they go for something like this, or should they go for a petrol version or some other variant like an EcoSport?
So with the recent launches of this Magnite and Nissan Magnite and Renault's Kiger and Venue in place and so many models. I was wondering the other day, who would buy this car with a petrol engine? But the sales are astonishing now. Even now, they've maintained that whole tempo of sales, because I think, as I said, it's the Maruti Suzuki badge and the acceptability of no nonsense in the eyes of an common Indian. Okay, everything comes with Maruti. Ease of use, ease of driving, economics, all kinds of economics. So basically, it's that badge, it's that halo around that Maruti Suzuki's products,
Yeah.
which keeps on going this. 100% there are more superior cars with all kinds of better features and technologies which has come now, and at lesser price points than this Maruti Suzuki. But then it's one of the, I think, largest selling cars in this segment because of the factors which I have mentioned.
Okay, so I've come to the end of the video, and so this is the review.